Hi, in this episode we are meeting with Lou and Patrice on Sonamara. We'll be taking a tour of the boat today. Can you start with just telling us a little overview of Sonamara?
Sonamara is a Island Packet 420, built in 2000, and we purchased her in 2008.
Okay.
The previous owner barely touched the boat.
This was in San Francisco Bay.
In San Francisco Bay. In fact, he didn't even get as far as putting a Dodger on her.
Really?
Yes. So it was basically a demo boat. It was literally a demo boat. And since then, we've added a lot to it, as you'll see, and she's turned out to be quite a good boat.
That's great. Well, here we are at the bow, and one of our favorite topics is anchoring. Can you tell us about your choice?
Yes. Let's see. When we first bought the boat, the CQR was the original anchor, 35 pounds, and I thought for what we were going to do, it's not big enough. So I started looking around. I found Rockna was well respected and did well in most tests. And the size I was supposed to get was a 55 pound. I chose a 75 pound just for added measure, more security.
Absolutely.
Now there used to be a Defender anchor up here that we're now using as a stern anchor, and that's set up at the stern.
So has the anchor been very reliable for you?
Extremely reliable.
Right.
In really challenging conditions too.
Good. So tell us about the windlass. Have you had any issues with that? Is it working well for you?
Yes, we did have a problem with the windlass. The windlass was new, came with the boat, and it was a Simpson Lawrence, and it was a piece of junk. And finally, it gave up the ghost last season in Mexico, and we replaced it with a Lumar, and that's proved to be very good.
Right.
Pretty bulletproof.
So I see you have a self-tacking boom. You want to talk about that?
Yes, this is the first model that Island Packet came out with a Hoyt boom.
Oh.
And it's self-supported and is basically permanently attached to the boat that way. And it's what we use to fly our staysail. I use it quite often in storm conditions when it's blowing 25 to 30 knots. What it does, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be motor sailing anyway because the seas are so rough. And what the sail will do is put the boat on a even, constant heel. So instead of rolling back and forth, it's on a constant heel and just kind of charging through the waves. And it also adds a little bit to the speed, but not a great deal.
This makes it more comfortable for everyone.
Easily more comfortable.
Right. So Lou, you have in-mast furling. There's some people in the pro camp and some in the con. How do you feel about it?
I'm in the pro camp. It's a good, it's a good compromise, if you will.
Okay.
You lose a little bit on sail performance, but what makes its big advantage to me is that I can control the entire boat from the cockpit. I never have to come up to the mast to furl the main or, you know, especially in nasty conditions. And that's kind of what I was thinking about when I bought something that had in-mast furling and allows the full sail control from the cockpit.
Yeah, safety.
It's quite safe. And I've been very happy with it.
So it hasn't gotten stuck. I guess that's sort of one of the nightmares.
It does. Once in a while it does, but it's not that difficult to free it up. Basically, you just climb up, grab it by the luff, and give it a pull, and it all comes out.
Okay. You don't have to worry about furling the sail at the end and putting it
No, none of that. Just roll it up. I usually come into a harbor, and furling the sails is like one of the last things I do.
Yeah.
I can do it. I can do all 3 sails in about 10 minutes.
Oh, nice.
We have an ST-70 Raymarine system. It came with the boat. It's kind of cobbled together. It does work.
That's good.
But I've added to it since then.
Yeah.
One of the things I've added to it is the ICOM VHF radio. We have a command mic out here, and the base station is down at the nav station. We've also added an AIS transponder, which I find really helpful and really handy. And I've connected all with various multiplexers. I've taken the data that comes from the Vesper Marine and the data that comes from the Ray Marine, combine it together, put it on a Wi-Fi system so that I can get it on my iPad, my phone, Patrice's iPad, her phone.
Oh, that's great.
We've got 3 different sources of charts. One of my big concerns, I'm a little old school this way, we don't have paper charts. And to rely on a single source of your charts is extremely dangerous.
Absolutely.
So we have actually 3 independent means of bringing up charts.
That's great.
And surprisingly enough, they're all different.
Plus, when you're on watch, someone's on watch, someone else downstairs can kind of, when you're...
Monitor things.
Oh, what's going on up there?
Yes, that's what I do when I'm off watch quite often.
That's good.
I'll be down there with my phone, and if something happens, I can hear the engine change, or the sails all of a sudden start going slatting. I'll pick up my phone. I'll say, okay, well, we're still on course. We're still doing the speed. Oh no, we slowed down another 1 knot. So
yeah,
I can pick all that up without
too much
having to
fuss.
get out of the berth yet.
Yeah. So one of the new things on your boat this season is a new dinghy. So tell us about that, your choice, and what's going on with it.
Yes, we had a dinghy that was it was made of PVC, which the sun gets to.
Yeah.
We put chaps on it. We tried to maintain it, and we kept it for about 8 years. Last year, it developed a leak in the transom, and it just wasn't going to work for the long term.
Yeah.
I could see it breaking down somewhere like we're at right now,
Yeah.
and not being able to replace it, not being able to repair it.
Yeah.
So we bought a local shop in Puerto Vallarta had this model on their floor. It's an AB inflatable, and it's about 10 feet long, and it's a little bit longer than our previous dinghy, and the motor just fit right on it. We added the wheels onto it, and we've had one problem with it since we've purchased it. It didn't quite fit in the same space that the old dinghy fit in, and lashing it down and preventing chafe was a big issue. And one of our problems occurred right down here. We had to patch the dinghy.
Yeah.
Because we were in a spot that was extremely rolly, and we pull up our dinghy every night, and when we did, because of the rolliness, it slipped from its original position and started chafing. And by the morning, there's a hole there.
Oh dear.
So
That's
since then I've taken a patch. The part that was causing the chafe is now gone. I took it off because it was really extra anyway. And so that's the way it works.
something to be aware of. Yeah.
And the motors are Tohatsu 4-stroke. We've had it for like 10 years now, and it is an extremely reliable motor. It's typically a 1-pull.
Oh, I love it. So Patrice, here we are in your galley. I know that this is where the magic happens. We have benefited from many of your baking and many meals. So tell us about your galley and how you make it all work.
It's kind of my domain here. Okay, so we have a refrigerator, which is not my favorite part of the boat, but it works. The left-hand side has a very small freezer, refrigerator all the way back to the back, and this side we try to keep most of the drinks on. If you have to reach something in the back, I usually get a pair of tongs out, and because that's the only way I can reach it. Or I put the tall stuff in the back.
So just sometimes the things get lost in there, you forget about.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And then you open the refrigerator, you go, oh man, something needs to go. It's time to clean it out. So, but I do like the setup we have here because all the plates and silverware, and this is a little bit different than Paradisia's boat. Their silverware is like on the top and their dishes are stuck below, so they don't have the freedom to stack stuff. So it's like
nice.
Each iteration of these boats, they kind of improved upon the design. So spice drawer.
Nice.
Spices. It's right over the engine, which is not ideal for spices, but when you're living on a boat, it doesn't matter. You're happy to have the spices. And utensils, and I've got lots of those. I've actually got 2 drawers of them. So
Wow. Look
kind
at
of
that.
collected a lot of stuff as we went north to Alaska. So I pretty much have every tool that I need.
And you have a microwave.
We have a microwave.
Do you find that you use that a lot on the boat? or-
Mostly for reheating and for loose popcorn for movie night.
Well, you gotta have popcorn.
Yeah, we like popcorn. And the stove, I just put the cover on it because it adds counter space. but
Absolutely, that's a
simple
nice prep area.
RV stove, but it works.
And the oven's big enough,
And the oven's big enough, not I would say for a big turkey, and it's only got one rack.
yeah.
It has the ability to have 2 racks. So basically that's it, and then cleaning supplies and
Yeah,
stuff like
that's
that's
very
over
well
here.
Organized, and you got a nice.
Lots of hands.
I have a drain
Area.
area, and underneath the drain board is the bin for pots and pans, which goes
Okay.
down very, very deep. And then we did get these hanging swinging baskets that are really handy for all the
Fruit
fruit stuff.
And do you find that keeps the fruit from going bad?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes and no. I think it just is going to go bad because it's hot.
Hot. Yes.
I do this with bananas all the time. It's time for banana bread again.
Uh-huh.
And then I kind of keep this box out here just for snacks.
Mhm.
And
So that you don't have to go digging for them.
Yeah.
It's available.
yeah, and all our plastic stuff and rags I kind of keep under the
Well, that's good.
the walkway.
yeah.
I keep the rags under the walkway so hopefully it catches something on the way down. So,
Convenient.
yeah.
Very nice.
So that's about it. So we
And do you
typically-
find it really hot in here when you're baking? And...
Cooking on the cooktop is worse than baking.
Okay.
So I have found that the open flame is what creates
Yeah.
the most heat immediately.
Yeah, I
in the
find
boat.
that too.
So cooking and baking is actually not that bad. It vents up here, but for some reason it's not the open flame, so it's not quite so bad. And we do have fans throughout the boat, and I usually turn this one on me.
Yeah.
So we have
Feels
about
good.
7 of these fans
Uh-huh.
throughout the boat, so it kind of circulates the air. And fortunately, we did get an air conditioner that we purchased off of Paradiso when they put theirs in the boat. They upgraded. So we do have an air conditioner when we're in a marina, which helps a lot. Yeah. So and then so all of it's just pantry items and then the rest of my pantry.
You have
If you want to
storage
see it,
elsewhere.
just to connect the food to the food. The rest of the pantry is all down here in bins. Behind here, there's a lot of storage in this boat. So I have all these bins in here. They're all labeled for what's in them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my big
So you can
pantry.
keep an inventory and just know what's in what.
Yeah, kind of, sort of, if I remember. We're getting
Yeah.
ready to go provision. I'll look in there and make sure we have
Yeah.
what we need. And I actually keep a running list as well.
Okay, so now we're going to take a tour of the stateroom, starting with this one.
Yeah, this is the aft stateroom, and it sleeps 2. It's got a good sized bed in it,
Uh-huh.
and as you can see, this is where I hide out. When I'm taking, my time for me.
This is your time.
It's my
Okay.
time, it's my space, and when we don't have guests on the boat. Otherwise, not. So, I hang out in here and I do a lot of cross stitch. I'll show you that later if you like.
Yes.
And it's a very comfortable room. It's got its own head, its own vanity, and it kind of has 3 doors in this tiny little space.
So you put your headphones on back here? And
In
just
the
kinda-
morning, if I'm up
Oh.
early in the morning, my headphones are up on, and I block everything out. And I start stitching.
Nice.
So it's got a comfortable head,
Uh-huh.
vanity, wraparound shower back here. And then as we come forward into the salon, the galley is back behind me, and the nav station is right there. Perfect. So we're back in the main area, and this is the salon, and we have this divided and organized kind of in half. So the port side is my side, which means all the household items and my personal items and desk type workspace and art. I actually have an art cabinet are here, as well as the pantry, which we looked at before. And then under these cushions is more storage. And there's actually 3 layers of storage in this boat on all sides. So the nav station is on the starboard side, where Lou's sitting, and that's his domain. The battery storage is over there. All of his tools are over there. All the boat information is over there and the electronics.
Okay. And the engine and the water maker, that's all.
Engine's behind the stairs there,
It's right
underneath
here.
the spice.
Yeah, it's
yes,
So
underneath.
we
okay.
did mention that.
Great.
So you want me to keep going?
Sure.
Okay, so we're gonna go into the forward stateroom. This is our room. And there's a couple little cute tricks in here. So we have cabinet storage, which we retrofitted with, it used to have all hanging storage, and we retrofitted it with all shelving so that there's no more hanging rods in here. Because the hanging rods tend to wear the clothing out, was our understanding. So that's typical cabinet. And then this bed actually gives us extra storage, which is something a lot of boats don't have. This whole thing opens up and there's extra storage under here, and then there's 2 levels of storage here. So there's this one and another pull underneath that.
It's like another closet.
There's 2 levels underneath this bed, underneath this
That's really
space.
nice.
So it's deep, but you know, you can really store a lot of stuff if we need to. And there's a couple of drawers on the end, and there's a seat across where Michael is, and that actually comes apart, and Lou's clothing is underneath there. It's all stored there.
Great. Good use of space.
Yeah. And then we have the forward head. He's still
Hello?
filming. You're filming my belly button. Okay, we got the forward head up here, which is and each one of these island packets is different. So this is quite a nice area. One of my favorite aspects of this whole boat is this shower door. So we have a full stand-up shower. Let me clip this back, which a lot of boats don't have. They usually just have the curtain, but we actually have a shower door.
Oh, that's nice. Keeps the water out from the...
Yeah, and it makes the shower a little bigger,
Uh-huh.
and a shower seat. So that's pretty handy. Okay, Lou, tell us about the engine. One of the things that most people worry about is having access to work on the engine when they need to, especially underway.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about how yours
Understood.
works?
There are several accesses to the engine. The engine's right down here. This is pretty much a maintenance door, and you get access to the front of the engine if you need access to, like, say, the alternator or whatever. When I do an engine check, this is typically how I would do it. I'd start with this hatch, open it. I can check the fuel. I can check the dipstick. I can see if there's any water in the or fluids in the sump that the engine sits in. And when I'm finished here, I would close this and go to the other access. And here I can check the coolant levels. If I need to add coolant, it's right here. This is the alternator regulator. The alternator's right here. I can check the fan belt and make sure I've got good tension, and just look around and make sure everything seems good. And one thing Island Packet does do is it's well lit.
That's great.
Well, this is just a beautifully laid out boat. If you had one wish for something else that you would like to have on board, is there anything?
Not really, besides what, Lou mentioned, the small freezer, but it's not necessary. We actually were thinking about selling the boat when we got to the East Coast after cruising through Mexico and through the Panama Canal, but now we're talking about shipping it back.
Shipping it back to California?
Back to California.
Because you're going to go back there and have a boat there?
Yeah.
All right. So it's a keeper.
It's dear to our heart.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again, Lou and Patrice.
You're welcome.
This is Lisa on cruisinglives.com, signing off from Sonamara.